What's up, YouTube? SirAllAboutMusic here, bringing you another requested album review. This comes from Blaszczówek. I don't know. I have no clue. Anyway, he asked me to review this album, Husker Du Zen Arcade. Pretty badass hardcore punk album. The thing about this album, though, is hardcore punk. Maybe. In my mind, the Zen Arcade is like where hardcore punk and progressive rock come together. It's really weird because while this album has a main hardcore punk focus, you know, there's all sorts of different styles that are being pulled in here. There's a little jazz, there's some acoustic folk in here, as you know, as signified by Never Talking to You Again, and there's, you know, I shouldn't say, for a hardcore punk album, there's an overbearing amount of melody contained in this album. And there's also a storyline, a theme, a kind of loose storyline going on here, you know, and it's just unheard of in hardcore punk up until that point. And, you know, it's very, that whole idea of having a theme and a concept and, you know, incorporating, you know, different styles of music and kind of trying to blend them. That's a very progressive rock ideal right there. And I admire Husker Du for doing that, and I admire this album for doing that, and I think it's a great step forward, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of melody on this album, and this is one of those albums that people say, you know, this helped propel the acceptance of alternative rock on college radio, you know, bands like The Replacements and R.E.M. and shit like that. And you can definitely see it. I mean, it's definitely there, you know. Yeah. So the interesting thing about these guys, these were one of the first non-California bands to get signed to SST. You see, it's backwards. Damn it. Oh well. It says SST Records right there. I still haven't figured out how to turn this damn shit around. It says SST Records right there. Yeah, they were signed to SST, which is pretty badass. Black Flag signed there too. A couple of other really pretty well-known hardcore punk bands. So yeah, so the theme of this album is, you know, this kid who leads an unfulfilling life, right? So he goes out in the world, he tries to run away from his home life, and he finds out that the world outside is even shittier than, you know, the life that he had. Kind of depressing, but hey, we're not playing, you know, 60s psychedelic pop here. This is hardcore punk. Yeah, overall there's a really nice attack, and even the songs that have more melody included in them, there's a harsh quality to them. There's still, you know, a nice attack to them. They're not pussy songs at all. Yeah, so good on this album. I got nothing but props for it. So originality through the roof, man. You know, like I said, this kind of experimentation, this kind of influx of ideas and styles was unheard of in the hardcore punk genre at this time. These guys basically drew the line. They pushed that line, and they were like, okay, this is it. If you cross here, you're not in hardcore punk territory anymore. That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. Love this album. Definitely in my top 10 favorite hardcore punk albums ever. Probably in my top 5 if I thought about it for a while, which I'm not going to right now. That would take way too long. Yeah, so flow. You know, it's something weird about the flow. Sometimes I don't like how the album goes, but I can't tell you guys exactly what it is that bothers me about it, because I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's really weird like that. But in a couple of places, it just doesn't fit too well for me. I have no fucking clue why. No, I can't point that out. And production is great on this album, actually. Everything's really well balanced. I say that a lot, you know. That's like my catchphrase for production. Anyway, everything's really well put together. The mix is really great. It's a little clean, I think. It's a little clean. It's definitely a little clean, but again, it's not like bright, happy, Smashing Pumpkins clean. It's got dirt to it. It's got character. So it's got a dirty kind of flavor to it, and I really like that for the production. So it's a good, especially since you're incorporating melody into this. This isn't. We want to give a direct, hard attack. We want to blah blah blah. If that was the case, then I'd say production can be a little shaky. But these guys, they have melody here. They're playing with actual tunes. And in that case, I think that the clean production, or more clean than usual, really fits in this. I think that's I think that works really, really well. So yeah, Zen Arcade. I could give this album around an 8.5 out of 10. 8.5, somewhere in that. 23 songs. You would think that would just get a little too long. My whole deal with double LPs is there are double LPs that I like, and there are double LPs that I don't, and there are more double LPs that fall into the don't like category than there are that fall into the like category for me. I hate when bands just take too long to say what they want to say. But in this case, in the case of Zen Arcade, I think they fit really well into their time slot here. They don't overstay their welcome. They get their point across in a lot of these songs, and there's a lot of interesting things to listen to because there's so many different styles coming in. There's a lot of things, to catch your ear, even if you're not a hardcore punk fan. Like I said, this album is considered to be the launching platform for like alternative college radio in the late '80s. So yeah, that's what I gotta say. SirAllAboutMusic. I'll see you guys next time.